I have got to talk to you about my favorite sandwich, the Caprese. Crispy garlic bread, creamy mozzarella cheese, fresh, juicy tomatoes, pesto. Oh, this sandwich is so good, so delicious, and so simple. It is a perfect melody of texture and flavor, and I'm so excited to show you how to make this. Granted, it's not 100% authentic to the original recipe in Italy, but if there's one thing I know about cooking, it's that we make do with what we have. By the way, before I get started, little life update. This is where I'm living now. This is my new old home. Did a little remodeling, added some more shelving, some wood paneling. In the meantime, you can find me in the woods. Hi, Allie. Illustrating away. This is my desk, my work area. It's kind of exciting, kind of cool. But on to ingredients and seasonings. You're gonna need pepper, red pepper flakes, granulated garlic, salt, balsamic vinegar, garlic, and olive oil. You'll also need Parmesan cheese, preferably the real stuff, but we make do with what we have. On the subject of cheese, you're gonna need mozzarella. You're gonna need the soft, squishy, fresh kind, okay? None of this hard, low moisture mozzarella. It's good for pizzas. It's terrible for sandwiches unless you're making a panini. We're not making a panini. You'll also need a big red tomato, some spinach, some basil, some lime juice, and a nut of some sort for the pesto. We'll talk about that in a moment, but in the meantime, let's talk about bread. You're going to want a rustic bread, a baguette, sourdough, or ciabatta. Normally I go with a baguette, but for this sandwich, I kind of want the bread to be softer, and Winco has really crusty baguettes. Remember to always sanitize your hands before cooking. If you don't have access to Purell, you can put some water and food coloring in a bottle, and it'll do about the same thing. Let's talk about pesto. Pesto is amazing. It's delicious. You already know this. You love it. Okay, you can make it in a food processor. You can make it in a blender. You can get it in a jar. All great options, but there is nothing more fun than making pesto in a mortar and pestle. Please, if you're going to get one tool, if I can implore you to get one kitchen tool, get a mortar and pestle. It's amazing. You're just crushing food between two stones. It's wonderful. Now, pesto is comprised of a few simple ingredients: basil, garlic, olive oil, pine nuts, Parmesan cheese, and it's not uncommon to have a little lemon or lime juice. Now, what I'm about to do is an abomination of sorts, but Winco was out of basil, and I was only making one shopping trip, so I substituted with spinach. Now, it's not a perfect pesto. I mean, it is missing what is arguably the most important ingredient. But what I make with the spinach is a close approximation, and it's still completely delicious. It's really a shame not to make something just because you don't have all the perfect tools or all the perfect ingredients. If you're making it with the mortar and pestle, you're going to want to start by smashing up the greens. But if you're making it with a food processor, you can just throw everything in at once. Now, as far as nuts, it's typically made with pine nuts, but I'm on a walnut budget, not a pine nut budget, and I think walnuts are just as delicious. Also, almonds, macadamia nuts. I've done it with breadcrumbs before, cashews. I like to toast the nuts and the garlic first. You can just do that for a couple minutes with some olive oil on medium heat. I think it adds a really nice flavor. Once toasted, you're going to want to add that to the greens and grind, baby. Once everything's sufficiently gloopy, you're going to want to add in some olive oil. That looks about 2 tablespoons, although I added more later. You're going to want to season with some salt, some red pepper flakes, some pepper, some lime juice, and Parmesan cheese, of course. And with a recipe like this, it's really all by taste and feel. Make the pesto you like. Taste it. See if it's salty enough, if it has enough lime juice, if it has enough pepper. If you're making it for a sandwich, you might want to make it a little bit drier. If you're making it for pasta, I would add a lot more oil. For this, it's a little bit drier for the sandwich. You know, I kind of want it to be more like a spread. Also, pro tip, again, this is an abomination, but for a spread, add a little avocado. It's good on a sandwich. Avocado's not bad. I added just a smidge to this one. Once the pesto's done, we can work on the bread. And this is why it's really so easy. If you just get a jar of pesto, that's perfectly okay. All you have to do is toast up the bread and slice some cheese and tomatoes. It's perfect. You're gonna wanna add some olive oil to the bread, a little salt, a little granulated garlic, some red pepper flakes, and add it to an oiled pan on medium-high heat. You're probably only gonna need to toast it for about 4 minutes, maybe check it halfway through. You end up with this really soft bread with this crispy exterior, and it's just perfect. Once it's all crisped up, you can assemble, okay? You're going to want to spread the pesto down. I don't need to tell you that. You know what to do with pesto. Throw on some big slices of tomato, season those up with salt and pepper. Throw on some juicy slices of mozzarella, and finish it off with balsamic vinegar. This vinegar is sweet and acidic, and it cuts through everything. It's so good. It makes the tomato sweeter, the mozzarella creamier. It makes everything good and delicious happen. You gotta use it. Throw on some spinach at the end, or basil if you have it, and yeah, that looks like a perfect sandwich to me.
Yeah, it's a caprese salad. Just a little bit of mozzarella right there.
Are you kidding me?